day, sir and classmates. I am Averil Upod, and for today's lesson, I'm going to discuss about gifted curriculum, the different models, and how it is implemented in our country. Let's start by knowing the different types of giftedness. There are 6 types of giftedness, namely successful type, the challenging type, the underground type, the dropouts, the double-labeled, and the autonomous learners. The successful type of giftedness. These are the type of learners that are usually obedient, they display appropriate behavior, and are high achievers. Generally, they have high self-concept. High self-concept means they tend to know their value, their strengths, and weaknesses. Thus, they are well adjusted to society. These are the types of learners who have learned the system. But why do they need to learn the system? They learn the system fast enough so as to use the minimum effort to get by. Because of this, they tend to get bored at school or at work. The successful type of learners are dependent on the system. Thus, they are less creative and imaginative, and they also lack autonomy. The second type of giftedness is the challenging type. Challenging type of learners are the divergently gifted. They possess high levels of creativity, and they do not conform to the system and often have conflicts with teachers and parents. We may have seen them as disruptive in the classroom and often possess negative self-concepts, even though they are quite creative. They are at risk of dropping out of schools for unhealthy activities like getting involved in drugs or exhibiting delinquent behavior if not given attention and tend to immediately. The next type of giftedness is the underground giftedness. These are the type of learners that refers to the gifted students who deny their talents or hide their giftedness. Generally, they are females. Who are frequently insecure and anxious as their belonging needs rise dramatically at that stage. Changing needs often conflicts with the expectations of parents and teachers. They are the types that appear to benefit from being accepted as they are at the time. The reason why this underground type of gifted learners deny their talents or hide their giftedness is because they seek belongingness and they seek companionship from their peers. The next type of learner is the dropout learners. These are the angry and frustrated students whose needs have not been recognized for many years, and they feel rejected in the system. They express themselves by being depressed or withdrawn and responding defensively. They are identified very late. Therefore, they are bitter and resentful due to feelings of neglect and have very low esteem. These are the types of students that counseling is highly recommended. The next one is the double-labeled type of giftedness. These are the gifted students who are physically or emotionally handicapped in some way. They do not show behaviors of giftedness that can identify them in schools. They show signs of stress, frustration, rejection, helplessness, or isolation. Also, they are impatient and critical with a low self-esteem. The school system seems to focus more on their weakness and therefore fail to nurture their strength. That is why it is important for us teachers to be vigilant with our students' need, how they act inside the classroom for us to give needed help to them. And the last type of learners is the autonomous learner. These are the learners who have learned to work effectively in the school system. They are very successful, liked by parents, teachers, and peers, and have high self-concept with some leadership capacity within their surroundings. They accept themselves and are risk takers, which goes well with their independent and self-directed nature. They are able to express their feelings, goals, and needs freely and appropriately. Let us now proceed to the different gifted curriculum models. Today, we're going to discuss 5 models, namely Rensselaer's School-Wide Enrichment Model, Betts Autonomous Learner Model, the Van Tassel-Bascas Integrated Curriculum Model, the Gagne Differentiated Model of Giftedness and Talent, and Gentry's Total School Cluster Groupings. Rensselaer's School-Wide Enrichment Model. It is a widely used model which appeals to a broader definition of giftedness. The theme of the SEM is to develop the strengths and talents of all students. The school-wide enrichment model is widely implemented as both an enrichment program used with academically gifted and talented students and as a magnet theme or enrichment approach for all the students. The SEM provides enriched learning experiences and higher learning standards for all children through 3 goals. And what are those 3 goals? We have the developing talents in all children, providing a broad range of advanced level enrichment experiences for all students, and providing advanced follow-up opportunities for young people based on their strengths and interests. It focuses on enrichment for all students through high level of engagement and the use of enjoyable and challenging learning experiences that are constructed around students' interests, learning styles, and preferred models or modes of expression. There are 3 basic phases to the compacting process. When we say curriculum compacting, it is a procedure used to streamline the grade level of curriculum. The first one is defining goals and objectives of the regular curriculum. Second is determining which students have already achieved these goals. And the third is offering new and stimulating work for the students. These components can be broken down into 8 steps. For the first one, we have selecting the learning objectives for a given subject. Second step, finding and creating appropriate methods of pre-testing these objectives. Third, identifying students who should take the pre-tests. Fourth, pre-testing students before beginning instruction on one or more of the objectives. Fifth, streamlining practice, drill, or instructional time for students who have learned the objectives. Sixth step, providing instructional options for students who have not yet attained all the pre-tested objectives but generally learn faster than their classmates. The 7th step, organizing and recommending enrichment or acceleration options for eligible students. And the last step is keeping records of the process and instructional options available to students whose curriculum has been compacted. The second model of gifted curriculum is Betts Autonomous Learners Model. ALM is a self-directed learning approach. It was created by Professor George Betts and Jolene Kircher. This is in order for them to promote gifted students' growth towards independent and self-directed learning. This model aims to help students develop their skills, ideas, and attitudes to promote lifelong learnings. Students take on a more active role in the learning process and teachers become facilitators of learning. This is what K-12 is all about too, like a student-centered learning process. Though ALM was created for gifted students, it can also be modified for use in different settings such as a regular classroom or smaller group. ALM contains 5 major domains or dimensions: orientation, individual development, enrichment, seminars, and in-depth study. The third model is Van Tassel-Bascas Integrated Curriculum Model, or the ICM. This model is specifically for high-ability learners. The ICM is an approach to teach gifted students in a way that is sensitive to their needs. This model places an emphasis on advanced content knowledge, rely on higher-order thinking skills, focuses learning on major issues that cross several disciplines. The ICM features the 3 components: overarching concepts, advanced content, and the process product. What are these 3 components for? Let's try to look in them one by one. The first is the overarching concepts. These are for reading, reflections, and discussions that allow students the ability to develop ideas, themes, and determine related concepts and ideas among various fields of studies. Second one is advanced content. This provides gifted students the opportunity to dwell deeper into a content area rather than skim the top, as may occur in a regular education class. Advanced content provides opportunities for students to use advanced skills and move through the curriculum in a more rapid pace or deeper. And the last one is the process product. In true gifted fashion, this aspect of the ICM allows students to explore a topic and conduct research relevant to their topic or engage in a problem-based learning experience. What makes ICM appropriate for gifted students? First, it developed as a means of further educating students who have the background knowledge, not to be used as a form of remediation. It emphasizes teaching advanced content that further frame disciplines. It provides higher order thinking and processing. Students use terms interchangeably from one field of study to another. For example, a student may write about a pioneer and their point of view rather than simply use the term point of view in a language art class. And the idea of the ICM is to scaffold learning for students in a worldly manner and allow students the opportunity to explore deep understanding of content and concepts. The next model that we're going to discuss is about Gagne's differentiated model of giftedness and talent. This model distinguishes between natural ability and talent development. Gagne thinks that all talents are developed from natural abilities through learning, influenced by inner and outer catalysts. The main components of Gagne's model, which he refined several times, are natural and talent ability. Now, let's take a look at the different 4 domains of natural abilities, which, according to Gagne, are mostly genetically determined. The first one is the intellectual abilities. This includes reasoning, memory, sense of observation, judgment, and metacognition. When we say metacognition, it is the process of thinking about one's own thinking and learning. For example, a person is asked to complete an activity, and before he performed the activity, he already perceived it in his mind what are the steps and techniques that he will use to complete the activity efficiently. The second one is the creative abilities. This includes inventiveness, imagination, originality, and fluency. Third is the socio-affective abilities. Consist of perceptiveness, communication, empathy or tact, and influence. Sensory motor abilities. These are the sensitivity or the senses, strength, endurance, coordination, and others. Sensory motor abilities includes the people who got great skills physically, had good coordination skills, and are excelling in terms of physical activities such as sports. Now, let's move on to talent. The different fields are open to wider argumentation than the natural abilities. Gagne thinks the following fields are relevant for school-age youth. First, we have academics, arts, business, leisure, social affection, sports, and technology. The developmental processes. Without learning processes, whether they are informal, as the learning of a first language by a child, or formal, as the most learning in school and practice gifts, don't turn into talents. There are two kinds of catalysts that affects the talent that is being developed into the child's giftedness. The first one is the intrapersonal catalysts, which includes the physical characteristics like health, motivation and volition, self-management, and personality. In personality, it includes temperament, self-esteem, adaptability, and others. Another is the environmental catalysts. This includes the milieu, or the culture, and the family, the persons, provisions, the programs, activities, and services that the child undergo in school and its community, events, and the chance to develop one's giftedness or one's natural ability. One last factor influencing the catalysts, the interpersonal and the environmental catalysts and the natural abilities, is chance. Most importantly, chance determines through the recombination of paternal genes which type of giftedness a child possesses to what extent. For us to understand more what DGMT means, let's take a look at this diagram. So makikita natin dito na ang giftedness or the natural abilities of a child or a person is already there. But it will undergo different developmental processes. And during this time na nagpa-process yung natural ability natin na yun, there are different changes or catalysts that may affect the developmental, which is the intrapersonal and the environmental catalysts. So, kapag na-undergo na ng process na ito, and then it will systematically develop into skills or a talent. Now, let's move on to Gentry's total school cluster groupings. These employs differentiation within the framework of inclusion. The TSCG is a specific research-based total school application of cluster grouping combined with differentiation. It focuses on meeting the needs of students identified as gifted, while also improving teaching and learning and achievement of all students. Research on TSCG has shown that student achievement increases. Teachers widely implement gifted education strategies with all students, and more students are identified as high achieving and fewer students are identified as low achieving. Recent research has also shown that TSCG improves achievement and increases the number of students identified as gifted who come from economically disadvantaged families from diverse cultural, linguistic backgrounds. TCSG design. It is an experimental design with random assignment to treatment or control is being used. Treatment effects will be examined using a 3-level growth curve models to explore specific school, group, and individual differences as well to discern whether the individual growth of students in the treatment program is greater than that of control group. Comparing the growth curves of the treatment and control groups will allow determination of treatment effectiveness. Teacher perceptions and practices will also be assessed both quantitatively and qualitatively at treatment and control sites. So, gifted curriculum in the Philippines. Senator Francis Tolentino has recently filed a Senate Bill 1301 seeking to institutionalize government support for gifted and talented students. In filing the bill, to be known as Henyong Kabataan Pinoy Act of 2020, Tolentino said the 1987 Constitution provide that the state shall establish and maintain a system of scholarship, grants, student loan programs, subsidies, and other incentives which shall be available to deserving students in both public and private schools, especially to underprivileged. So aside from this Henyong Kabataan Pinoy Act of 2020, there is also a bill that is being pushed by Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada, which is called Gifted and Talented Students Education Act. The gifted and talented students manifest extraordinary skills in either both areas of the academic and arts. Their high potential for excellence can be the source of bright and new ideas on how to make things around us work better. These children, therefore, should be given special education and training to enable them to maximize their knowledge and skills. And now, let's take a look at the different DepEd orders that is being implemented in our educational system so as to help the gifted learners in our country. The first one is the DepEd Order 99 Series of 2009. It is also known as the Organization of Head Start Classes for the Gifted and Talented Preschoolers. This program provides appropriate educational services, train teachers, administrators, and supervisors on the early identification of gifted and talented preschoolers, and develop an enriched curriculum that nurtures, challenges, and hones the multiple intelligences of these children imbued with desirable values. The main goal of the program is to ensure that all gifted and talented preschoolers are given the necessary support to attain the highest standard of achievement that matches with their abilities, intelligence, and skills. Specifically, the program aims to offer the services for mastery of the basic skills and development or enhancement of the multiple intelligences at a pace and depth appropriate to all the capabilities of the gifted and talented preschoolers. The program, which was piloted in March 2006, has organized 44 classes with 1,600 pupils. During the year 2009, its orientation and expansion of the Head Start program, 45 new classes are expected to be organized by the teachers, school heads, and supervisors who attended the activity. Let's take a look at the STEAM education here in the Philippines. While STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and mathematics in the Philippines, though it is relatively an agricultural country, many schools place more emphasis on art education as component of STEAM. This is in recognition of the fact that many Filipino learners are artistically gifted. Many educators believe that putting emphasis on art in STEAM education would develop the artistic talent of the Filipino gifted learners. STEAM is offered primarily for Filipino students who are gifted. The Department of Education has established special science elementary school project and science high schools to respond to the needs of students who are gifted in the field of science, mathematics, technology, and engineering science. The Department of Education, or DepEd, through the Bureau of Elementary Education, is implementing a special science elementary school project in pursuance to DepEd Order Number 73, Series of 2008, and DepEd Order Number 51, Series of 2010. DepEd issued DepEd Order Number 57, Series of 2011, to provide guidelines for the implementation of SSES project. The SSES project aims to develop Filipino children equipped with scientific and technological knowledge, skills, and values. Its mission is to provide a learning environment to science-inclined children through a special curriculum that recognizes the multiple intelligences of the learners. The subject science and health is taught in grade 1 with a longer time compared to other subjects, 70 minutes for grades 1 to 3 and 80 minutes from grade 4 and 6. The curriculum also utilizes different instructional approaches that address the learning styles and needs of the learners, like the use of investigatory projects. Let's take a look at the different schools in Region 2 that belongs to the Special Science Elementary School project. For the Division of Cagayan, we have Averil North Central School and Malabak Elementary School. For Isabela, we have Cabagan Science Elementary School. Santiago City, Santiago West Central School. And for Tuguegarao City, we have Tuguegarao West Central School. Another, we have Science High School. Science high schools were established in Philippines pursuant to Dex Order Number 69, Series of 1993, which was later amended by the Department of Education Order Number 89, Series of 1993. The Science High School were built for above average ability students who have shown an aptitude in science and technology and mathematics. Admission to these schools is highly selective. This specific high school takes science, math, and English at a higher level. Science High School, or commonly known as PSI. These schools also have an enriched curriculum, undertaking research that is not available in mainstream schools. The teachers in these schools were also carefully selected by the Department of Education to ensure quality teaching and learning. Science high schools are currently helping the Department of Education in preparing students in the STEM track of the senior high school program. One of the Philippine Science High School is located in our town, specifically in Barangay Masok, Bayongbong, Nueva Vizcaya. Other initiatives on STEAM education. Acceleration Program. This program is intended for intellectually gifted Filipino students in STEAM, and they were encouraged to be accelerated to higher grade levels or to have early college placement in selected higher education institutions that are known to have excellent academic programs in science, mathematics, engineering, and technology. Another, we have enrichment activities. These are instructional activities, special projects, co-curricular and extracurricular activities, and strategies that are used to engage gifted students to learning and sustain their interest in STEAM areas in school. Special classes. These are offered for gifted students on top of their regular academic loads. Take for instance, we have classes on different musical instruments, performing arts, visual arts, robotics engineering science, and creative writing workshops among others. We also have involvement in academic and co-curricular and extracurricular competitions. Gifted students are often encouraged to participate in several district, division, regional, or national competitions like the National School Press Conference, Festival of Talents, Palarong Panbansa, or the National Sports Competition and Math Olympiad, among others. Use of interest centers in the classroom. This is often used for kindergarten and early grade classes where students are led to work or study in his or her particular area of interest, like science, language, music, or arts.
Special projects. Every gifted student can work on a particular project or conduct research that interests him or her. This is often done in science and social studies. And the last one, we have clubs. Gifted students are encouraged to join clubs to nurture their talents and skills in STEAM and other academic areas. And there we have it. These are the different programs of the DepEd that is being implemented in our educational system to help the gifted learners in our country. And that ends my report. Once again, this is Averil Upod, and thank you for listening.